Hello everyone, welcome back to our platform AgriEdict. I am Tulsi, your educator for the subject entomology and nematology. Today we are going to see on a topic of nematological techniques. Nematological techniques, this is entirely a practical aspect when compared to the other topics whichever included in the nematology. This In this lecture we are going to see about the different principles and procedures which are involved in nematological techniques like sampling, extraction, like different extraction methods which are used for nematode isolation, and some of the fixatives. We are going to see some of the examples of fixatives which are used for preparation of the permanent mounts, and how to make permanent mount slides. In this lecture, we are going to cover these all topics. So, without delay, let us start our today's lecture. Nematological techniques. Initial step in the case of nematological techniques for before extraction will be the collection of samples from soil or from root surface or from any planting material. It entirely depends on the nature of the nematodes, because the nematodes may stay in the soil. Then we will go for collection of such samples, that is from field we will going to collect the soil samples, and if they are staying in the planting material, then we will go for collection of samples from, that is planting materials, or mainly as most of the nematodes will reside in the root system, so we will go for collection of the samples, that is collection of root samples. It entirely depends on the nature of the nematode where it is staying. Hence, this sampling method will differs from one method to the other method. Like in case of field crops, the depth of the sampling varies. It is like 15 to 20 centimeter, whereas in case of widely spaced crops, it is varies like 20 to 30 centimeter, whereas in case of orchard plants, that is in fruit trees or plantation crops, it varies up to 30 to 60 centimeter. Why the depth is varying in these kinds of crops? It entirely depends on the root system, how it has been distributed. Because in case of field crops, the root system is not much very depth, or where it is not very deep in nature. Whereas in case of fruit trees and plantation crops, it is very the root system is spreaded very deeply. Hence, as the nematodes feeding on the root system, so the depth of the nematodes with the samples which is to be collected, it entirely varies on the depth of the feeder roots, as the nematodes are spread around the root system. Let us know what is the method, or how the method is followed in case of field crops, sampling from the field crops. We are going to select a field that is of 1 hectare area. Leave about the meter peripheral area around the field. If it is a field, you can see in the first figure, if it is a field, 1 meter peripheral area is to be left out. Leaving that area, the in between, that is 1 meter peripheral area, the soil sample has to be collected from that field. Remove 2 to 3 upper layer of the soil, because we know that plant parasitic nematodes entirely doesn't comprises in the upper layer of the soil, as they are distributed and they are obligatory in nature. They are distributed in around the plant root system itself. So upper layer of the soil doesn't comprises of any plant parasitic nematode. So the 2 to 3 centimeter of the upper layer of the soil has to be removed, and it is not considered for the collection of sample. Collect 50 to 100 cubic centimeter of the soil along with the feeder roots if present, up to a depth of 15 to 20 centimeter. In case of field crops, up to 15 to 20 centimeter will go for collection of the soil samples, and about 50 to 100 cubic centimeter soil will be collected for every sampling. Like this, you have to draw 10 to 20 such subsamples from 1 hectare area. From if it is a 1 hectare area, you have to collect around 10 to 20 such subsamples to be collected, and it has to be mixed it and by forming a composite sample. And that sample whichever collected from the 10 that is from 10 to 20 subsamples need to be mixed off, and it has to be placed in the polythene bag and label the sample. After collection, you have to label the sample. The label may comprises of like sampling site or sampling size, sampling number, or host plant which from where you have collected, and farmer's name, or if any symptoms if present, you can note down that also. Like this, the samples has to be collected from the field crops. And the next is sampling from the widely spaced crops like cucurbits. In case of widely spaced crops, only we will be selecting the 6 rows of the field. In the entire field, you will be selecting the 6 rows. And from that 6 rows, that is how you will be following is 2 rows from the beginning, 2 rows in the middle, and 2 rows in the like far end from the field. Like this, you will be selecting the rows, and from each rows you will be collecting 8 to 10 subsamples up to a depth of 20 to 30 centimeter. This is the most important you may expect in the exam. That is, in case of field crops, what is the depth used? 15 to 20 centimeter. Whereas in case of widely spaced crops, what is the depth used? It is 20 to 30 centimeter. This has to be noted down. And collection of the such samples will be taken in case of in these samples will be taken in zigzag manner. You can see in the picture like this. If you collect the first sample here, then you will go in the zigzag manner. Next alternate sample will be collected here. Like this, you have to follow. In case of field crops also, I forgot to inform that the collection of sample will be taken place in zigzag manner only. Like this, 8 to 10 subsamples will be collected up to a depth of 20 to 30 centimeter from each pair of rows in the zigzag manner. And collect the composite sample. After collection of 8 to 10 samples from each row, those collected sample will be made into a composite sample by mixing it and placed in a polythene bag. And again, you have to follow the same procedure as in case of field crops, how we have labeled. Like this only, here also the proper detailed information along with the label is kept in the each collected sample. Like this, the sample has to be collected from the widely spaced crops. Next is sampling from an orchard. Orchard mainly includes the fruit trees and plantation crops. These entirely will be having a depth of around 30 to 40 centimeter. Sometimes it may reaches around 50 to 60 centimeter also. So in normal or in average way, you can go for collection of the sample. In this case, it is up to a depth of 30 to 60 centimeter as the nematodes are distributed around it. And here you'll be taking 2 subsamples from each tree around the main stem. You can see in the picture. These are the trees. Around each trees, you will be collecting 2 subsamples from each tree. Like this, the subsamples need to be collected at a depth of 30 to 60 centimeter. And collect the subsample from 10 trees randomly from 1 hectare area. From 1 hectare area, you will be collecting in a like 10. You will be selecting randomly 10 trees, and this method is followed like around a tree you will be collecting 2 subsamples, and those subsamples will be mixed off, and it has to be formed into a composite sample, and it will be kept in polythene bag, and these are properly labeled for further information. And if we go for immediate extraction, there is no need of storage of those samples. If the extraction takes some time, then you will go for storage. That is, you have to store the samples in the refrigerator at around the temperature of about 10 degrees Celsius for few days if the immediate processing is not possible. Then you have to keep in mind about the temperature which is used for storage of these samples, that is around 10 degrees Celsius. This is about the collection of the samples, that is from that is collection of soil sample and collection of plant materials, that is root samples. After collection of the samples, you will go for extraction of the nematodes from those collected soil sample or the root samples. The different methods which are used in the extraction of the nematodes are like Cobb sieving and decanting method. This is the most important method which is normally followed in all case of nematodes. And the next method is modified Bierman funnel technique. And the one more method is sugar centrifugal flotation technique. And the next method is extraction of cysts from the soil. Like this, the method varies from nematodes to nematodes based on the nature, based on its nature, like its movement or based on its gravity. These methods will be followed. Let us see what is main principle which is involved in the Cobb sieving method and what is the procedure to be followed in Cobb sieving and decanting method for the extraction of the nematodes. Cobb sieving and decanting method. This was given by the N.A. Cobb. So only the name is Cobb sieving and decanting method. The name itself tells the use of sieves. Different sieves of having different pore sizes will be using in this method. The main principle used in this Cobb's decanting and sieving method technique is it mainly depends on the gravity of the nematodes. Differential rate of settling between the nematodes and soil particles, as it entirely depends on the gravity of the gravitational force, and retention of the nematodes with differential length on the sieves of the different pore sizes. Here different pore sizes of sieves will be used, like 20 mesh sieve, 60 mesh sieve and 300 mesh sieve. These mesh sieve will be having different pore sizes. The different nematodes will be having different sizes, like it may be like very finer in nature. At some nematodes like cyst nematodes, the entirely bigger in nature compared to other small nematodes. Hence the different pore sizes of sieves will be used in this method. Like this, the retention of the nematodes will vary based on its size and also based on the sieve of the different pores. Like this, the nematodes will uh, stay on the each sieves which are used in this method. See, now let us see what is the method used in this Cobb sieving and decanting procedure. Initially, the soil the composite sample which is collected from the field will be taken for the processing. From the entire composite sample, you will be taking only 200 ml of the soil, or you can say 200 cc of the soil will be used for the processing, and the other sample, like remaining sample, will be kept in the refrigerator for storage or further processing later. And this soil sample need to be taken in a metallic pan or metallic container and pour 1 liter of water, or it may depends on the quantity of the soil whichever you are using. After pouring some water, or consider you are pouring 250 ml of the water to the 200 ml of the soil, mix it thoroughly and stir it, and let the particles settle down. Wait for some time, like about 1 hour. Waiting time is used in this method. And after that, you have to pour that soil suspension on the 20 mesh sieve. What is 20 mesh sieve? If you consider a sieve plate, the 20 mesh sieve is nothing but 20 openings which are present per linear inch, like this. In linear inch, the number of openings which are present is referred as, is given as a different numbers, like 20 mesh, 60 mesh and 300 mesh. In case of 20 mesh, the number of openings will be 20 per linear square inch. In case of 60 mesh, it will be around 60 openings per linear square inch. And in case of 300 mesh sieve, it is around 300 openings will be present per linear square inch. So only the as we go on from like number that is 20 mesh sieve to 300 mesh sieve, the size of the pore will go on decreasing. Afterwards, I will explain about these mesh sieve, like what different sizes are involved in 20 mesh, 60 mesh and 300 mesh sieve. Now coming to the procedure, pour the decanted soil solution, decant the soil suspension in onto the 20 mesh sieve and allow it for settling. That is, you consider it as a pan A and this is a pan B. The filtrate will be collected in the pan B. And over the 20 mesh sieve, if there are any root particles or any particles, then those particles need to be taken or taken out, and the other particles need to be discarded. And the filtrate which is collected in the pan B is to be left for some time for settling down. And after that, again that soil sample has to be decanted over the 60 mesh sieve. This is entirely taken for the cyst nematode. 60 mesh sieve is taken for the extraction of the cyst nematodes. After decanting the solution, the sample which is collected in the, consider this is the pan A. Now it becomes pan A and this is pan B. From pan B, the solution has to be poured off into the pan A. The filtrate will be collected in the pan A. The residue which is left over on the 60 mesh sieve, it is directly taken for the observation for cyst nematode. This is directly taken for the observation for the cyst nematodes. And the filtrate which is collected in the pan A is to be again poured over the 3 mesh sieve after leaving some time. After that, whatever the residue which is left over the 300 mesh sieve will be taken for the further extraction or further procedure methods by like Biermann funnel method is used for motile and active nematodes. This is the sample, or this is the soil sample which is entirely used for all other methods for collection of the different nematodes. Here whatever the sample which is left over on the 300 mesh sieve is collected in a beaker for further process or for further other methods to be applied. Like this, the collection of the nematodes will be taken place by using Kops and sieving and decanting method from the soil sample. In simple way, you can tell that by using the 300 mesh sieve, you will go for extraction of the nematodes from the soil sample, and that sample or residue whichever collected over the 300 mesh sieve will be further processed by using the different methods like Biermann funnel method or any Fenwick can method, as in case of cyst nematodes. Like this, the different methods will vary according to the nature of the nematodes. Point which need to be carefully taken from this method is Kops sieving and decanting method. It is entirely depends on the principle of gravitational force, because the rate of settling depends on the gravity of the gravity. So here the differential rate of settling between the nematodes and soil particles will vary according to the pore sizes of the sieve. But in case of Biermann funnel technique, it is entirely depends on the nematode mobility. So only active and motile nematodes will be extracted by using the Biermann funnel technique. Let us see in the next slide about the Biermann funnel technique. As I told about the different mesh sieves in mesh sieves which are used in the Kops sieving and decanting method. Here you can see when we see 20 mesh, it is around 840 micrometer. when we consider in the micrometer. And if it is 60 mesh, it is 250 micrometer. You can see here from 20 mesh to when we moved on to 350 mesh, the size go on decreasing. That means 20 mesh is nothing but it is a number, like the number of openings which are present per linear square inch. It as it increases from 20 mesh to 350 mesh, the of course the size of the pores will go on decreases. You can see from 20 mesh it is around to 840 micrometer, and in case of 350 mesh it is around 350 micrometer. And some of the advantages and disadvantages over this method in this method is high extraction efficiency can be obtained by using only a few sets of sieves and a little quantity of water. Here no wastage of water can be done. And of course there is advantages if we consider sieves sometimes will be costly in nature, that is may be relatively expensive, and the practice is required to carry out the method in a reliable way. If a method which is followed in cob sieving and decanting method to become very efficient in manner, then you have to follow the method very carefully, and practice is most needed in order to make it very effective. And the one more disadvantage is it is a time consuming method. Next method is modified Bierman funnel technique. Here the principle which is involved is only the active and motile nematodes which are showing the mobility will pass through the tissue paper and move into the water due to the gravitation. This method is entirely based on the movement and activity of the nematodes. As they are having affinity towards the water, the only nematode which can be moved or which are active will move towards the water, and those nematodes will be collected in the water, and those nematodes will be taken for further observation. So this becomes one more disadvantage, because here inactive nematodes cannot be extracted by using this method. Let us see what is the procedure involved in Bierman funnel technique. Process the soil sample as we have by using the method Cobb's decanting and sieving technique. In Cobb's decanting and sieving technique, the residue collected will be over on 300 mesh sieve. Fix the double layer of tissue paper on the modified piece of wire net. You can see here, this is the wire net, and over the wire net you have to place tissue paper by pouring a little quantity of water on it in order to make it fix over the wire net. After that, pass the residue of 300 mesh over the tissue gently. Whatever the residue whichever collected over the 300 mesh, it has to be passed into the setup, that is wire mesh setup. And this wire net assembly has to be kept in a Petri plate. To the Petri plate you will be adding little quantity of water. See, you can see this is the Petri plate. In this Petri plate you will be adding water. Over that you will be keeping the wire mesh. Out of that, like above the wire mesh, again you will be keeping the tissue paper, and you will be pouring the sample, that is residue whichever collected over the 300 mesh. After pouring of the sample in the wire mesh, leave some time, like this about 24 hours. You have to leave it for one day for in order to collect the nematodes. After leaving about 24 hours or one day, remove the wire net assembly and collect the water from the Petri dish in a beaker. After one day, you will be removed all the wire net assembly whichever used in this setup. After that, the nematodes which are having active and motile only the active and motile nematodes will be collected in the water which is placed in the Petri dish. That means whenever you pour the sample, that is soil suspension, into the tissue paper, the nematodes which are showing the movement, as they are having high affinity towards the water, will be moved towards the water, and those nematodes will be collected in the water and it will be taken in the beaker for further observation. This only you have to remember, in this method only active and motile nematodes can be extracted. Next method is sugar flotation, centrifugal flotation technique. Here the name itself indicates centrifugal force is used in this method. Along with that, sugar will be used as a substance in order to increase the weight of the suspension. Though this technique is useful in isolating all types of nematodes, it is specifically used to extract the sessile and inactive nematodes, because here, as in case of Biermann funnel technique, only active and motile nematodes can be extracted. So in this method, here only inactive and mostly it can be used, all type of nematodes can be extracted. Specifically, if we consider, only the sessile and inactive nematodes can be extracted by using this method. The nematodes which are not extracted by using Biermann funnel technique can be used in this method for extraction. The principle involved in this method is nematodes being which are lighter in weight will be floated in the supernatant and having the solution of higher specific gravity due to the centrifugal force. Here the centrifugal force is used in this extraction methods. Due to the centrifugal force, the nematodes, it will form, we know that in centrifugation what will happen, the separation will takes place in the suspension, that is the supernatant will be, if it is a tube, the supernatant will be collected above and the remaining material will be collected below, or it, as it is having different weight, it will be settled below. So the nematodes which are lighter in weight will be collected in the supernatant. Hence, for adding or increasing the weight of the sample, here the sugar solution will be added. As the gravity of the sugar will be around 1.18, which is more than the nematode. Nematode will be having around 1.05 specific gravity. By using this method, only like inactive and sessile nematodes can be extracted. Let us see what is the procedure involved in this method. Transfer the residue of the 300 mesh sieve, as I explained in the Cobb sieving and decanting method. That residue has to be transferred in the centrifuge tubes, and after blanching the tube, spin the material at 1200 rpm for 3 minutes. That you know that apparatus of the centrifugation, if it is apparatus like this, the centrifugation tube, it is centrifugal tubes will be kept opposite to each other and balance it, and the condition which is used for spinning is around 1200 rpm for 3 minutes. After centrifugation, decant the supernatant, and to that supernatant you have to add sucrose solution of having specific gravity 1.18, and again you have to go for spinning the tubes. The same condition holds good, 1200 rpm for 3 minutes, and collect the supernatant over a 300 mesh sieve. Rinse thoroughly with tap water and collect the catch in a beaker. After again centrifugation, which is second time centrifugation, the supernatant to be collected and it has to be washed with tap water, and that supernatant, whatever washed with the tap water, will be collected in a beaker for further processing or further identification. Like this method, in this method, centrifugal flotation technique, only the extract is used for the extracting sessile and inactive nematodes. For the other method is, it is mainly used for isolating inactive method, as I explained earlier. Samples can be extracted within an hour, because the time you can see here only 3 minutes is required, and here also the second time centrifugation 3 minutes is required. So there is no time lag in this method. You can go for extraction of these methods very early. And disadvantages is, as we are using centrifugal force, so it may cause change in the shape of the nematode, make it difficult for identification. And extraction fluid, that is using sugar, it may have some negative effect on the nematodes. Nematode vitality can also be affected in this method. Next method is extraction of the cysts from the soil. Extraction of the cysts from the soil. the whatever the mesh or whatever the 60 mesh which is used in the extraction of the nematodes which is followed in the Cobb sieving and decanting method, that can be directly examined under the stereosome binocular microscope for the absorption of the cyst nematodes. See, the residue of the 60 mesh sieve which is taken from the Cobb decanting sieving method will be collected in a beaker and it is directly examined under the stereosome binocular microscope. And the cysts which are containing eggs, of course, will be having weight compared to the cysts which are not having the eggs, will definitely sink to the bottom as they are having or as they are heavier in nature. So those cysts will be picked up and those will be taken for further identification or for further any processing. And empty cysts which are doesn't having any eggs will definitely remain floating because of lighter in weight on the water surface. Those cysts will be discarded off. And the one more specific method which is used for extraction of the cyst nematode from the soil is Fenwick-Can apparatus. This apparatus is entirely designed for the extraction of the cyst nematode from the soil. You can see in the figure, this is the Fenwick-Can, which is method which is used for the extraction of the cyst from the soil. This is the Fenwick-Can apparatus, and here you can see the different sieves, that is 20 mesh sieve which is placed over the 60 mesh sieve, and this is the water which is to be poured into the Fenwick-Can. Let us see the method which is followed. Close outlet of the can with a rubber stopper and fill it up to the top with water. Here you have to close the rubber stop, and after that you have to switch on the tap water and allow the tap water to be filled out up to top level. Place the soil sample, that is around 200 cc sample which is to be collected from the field, will be placed in the sieve, that is in 20 mesh sieve, and now you have to open the tap from the above till whole the soil sample is washed into the can. Collect the overflow on the 20 mesh sieve nested over the 20 mesh sieve and run more water for a couple of minutes. Then after opening the tap, until the soil gets washed off, you have to flow the water thoroughly. After that, the soil sample will be collected over the 20 mesh sieve and also 60 mesh sieve. And that the residue whichever collected over the 60 mesh sieve will be taken in a beaker for further identification. Hence, 60 mesh is used for the extraction of the cyst nematodes from the soil. Is extraction of nematodes from the planting material. Up to now you have seen the extraction of nematodes from the soil. Next is extraction of the nematodes from the plant materials. Some of the nematodes you may know about migratory nematodes like migratory endoparasitic nematodes and sedentary endoparasitic nematode. As they are residing in the plant root system, those samples will be collected and will be going for analysis or extraction of those nematodes. Let us see in case of extraction of migratory nematode what method is used. Blending and modified Biermann funnel technique is used in the extraction of migratory nematodes. Here you can see blending and modified Biermann funnel technique. Blending is nothing but here blending of the plant particles will be taken off, and modified Biermann funnel technique, that means whatever the method which is followed in this extraction of the nematodes in case of from soil, that Biermann funnel technique, the same procedures will be followed here also. First, wash the plant materials thoroughly. The samples which are containing the nematodes will be taken, and those samples will be chopped out, washed out, and cut it into small pieces by using knives, and take a known weight of the sample and transfer those samples to the blender along with some quantity of water to it. After that, operate the blender for about 15 seconds and take out the content in a beaker. After blending the sample whichever blended will be taken in a beaker, and that sample or that suspension will be taken to the tissue paper wire net assembly and allow it the water to drain out from that sample. As I explained in the Bierman funnel method, the same procedure will follow now. Here the Petri dish will be there. In the Petri dish, you will be adding some water. Over the Petri dish, you will be keeping wire mesh. And again above the wire mesh, you will be keeping the tissue paper. To the tissue paper or on the tissue paper, you will be adding that the blended sample over the tissue paper. And you have seen the active and motile nematodes which are showing mobility will be of course moving towards the water as they are having high affinity towards the water. So like this the method follows. Collect the nematodes daily from the Petri plates and add fresh water for 7 to 10 days. Like this you have to followed in this method. Like about 7 to 10 days the same procedure will be followed by the nematodes whichever collected in this water will be taken and again the fresh water will be added for further collection of the nematodes as their nematode mobility will vary from species to species. And after that examine the collected sample under the stereosome microscope. Like this, the extraction of the nematodes from the planting materials will be followed in case of migratory nematodes. Next is detection of the sedentary endoparasitic nematodes by using staining methods. As the sedentary, you know that the nematodes will stay in the one place itself, doesn't show any migratory movements. So for this method, you'll be go for using different stains like lactophenol acid fission method. Here staining it doesn't it implies like microscopic detection of the nematode infection by using different stains. The different nematodes like sedentary endoparasitic nematodes can be visually observed. Staining agents like lactophenol or that is cotton blue can be used to stain the nematodes, and plant tissues are not like or only slightly stained. Examples are cotton blue and acid fission and iodine. These are the different staining agents which are used for extraction of the nematodes, that is from planting material. The procedure which is involved in this method is wash the planting roots, cut into small pieces and prepare 0.1% acid fission lactophenol and transfer those roots. That means initially you will be collecting the root samples. Those root samples will be cutted into small pieces by using the knives, and after that you have to prepare 0.1% of acid acid fission lactophenol. The composition of the acid, that is acid fission lactophenol, includes lactic acid 1 part plus 2 parts of glycerol and 1 part of phenol and 1 part of water. Like this, the 0.1% of acid fission lactophenol solution will be prepared and transfer those roots into this solution. After that, boiling has to be carried out. Boil the roots in the stain solution for about 1 to 3 minutes, and later after boiling, remove those boiled roots from the solution and wash them in the running water, and again transfer it to the plain lactophenol for about 1 to 2 hours. Now you can see if the nematodes are present, then you can see the different color stains. Like if you are going to use cotton blue, then the staining will be in the color of blue. And if you are using acid fission, that is lactophenol acid fission, then the nematodes will be stained red in color. Like this, the identification of the different nematodes, that is different sedentary endoparasitic nematodes, will be carried out by using staining method. But the one disadvantage using this method is phenol is harmful. As phenol is having some of the toxic effect, it may cause some harmful effect and it becomes disadvantageous over the other methods. Staining in Lugol's solution. This method is mainly used for the detection of Lobodora or Heterodora stages in the thin roots. You just remember the staining in Lugol's solution. This is entirely specifically depends used for the detection of the cyst nematode, that is Globodora or Heterodora stages in the thin roots. Next, coming to the killing and fixing of the nematodes. Up to now, you have seen the extraction of the nematodes. First, initially, we have seen how to sample the how to go for sampling of different nematodes and what are the different extraction methods used for different nematodes as they are dependent on nature of the nematodes. And now you will go for killing and fixing of the nematodes. Why we will be doing killing and fixing of the nematodes? For the further identification, you'll be going for killing and fixing of the nematodes. If a nematode suspension cannot be counted immediately, then it has to be sent for a taxonomist for the identification, or it can be further prepared for further conservation in different modes by using like permanent modes, which is used for long term storage, and those permanent modes can be used for further studies. For preparation of permanent modes, you have to kill the nematodes, and by using different fixative agents, the nematodes can be fixed over the slides. The best results which are obtained by killing the nematodes is rapidly killing the nematodes by using the temperature or by heating it about 65 to 90 degrees Celsius. 65 to that is 90 degrees Celsius, as it is very high temperature, the nematodes will be killed off. And after that, by using different fixative agents, immediate fixing can be followed. He assume the characteristic shape depending on the species. After heating the nematodes assumption different shapes. As you have seen in the morphology class, the criconematids, how the nematodes will attain in sausage shape, and in some of the nematodes like Ziphinema, they will attain in the filiform shape. Like this, different nematodes will attain in the different shape by after heating it, straight, or it may be C shape, or it may be spiral shape. Like this, the nematodes will attain in the different shape based on the species. And after heating, cooling has to be carried out very fast, and because as we are using very high temperature, it may cause deformations of the nematode, which becomes difficult for the identification. Here, the best fixating agent which is used for fixing of the nematodes over the slides is formalin 4 to 5%. And the formalin which is used in case of fixing of the nematodes as one disadvantages, it causes slight shrinking of the nematodes as it is having hardening effect. So in order to reduce or in order to compress this effect, you will go for using of the some of the shrinking agents like acetic acid or propaneic acid, which is used for neutralizing the shrinking effect it as followed in the use of formalin. Examples other than formalin which are used for fixing of the nematodes, these are nothing but fixative agents. You have seen formalin 4%, 4% formalin will be used as a fixating agent. How it is prepared is 10.8 ml of the formalin will be dissolved in 89.2 ml of the distilled water. Here 10.8 ml formalin out of 100 ml, 10.8 ml of the formalin will be taken, and remaining will be followed will be distilled water. As I told, formalin is having some of the hardening effect, which may causes the nematodes to become grainy when we use formalin as a fixative agent. So by in order to prevent this effect, we can go for adding of calcium carbonate to the stock solution. The other fixating agent is Fa, that is formalin and glacial acetic acid in the ratio of 4 is to 1. Here, formalin, the same quantity, that is 10.8 ml, will be added to the glacial acetic acid of 1 or 10 ml will be taken, and remaining will be distilled water. Here, the use of acetic acid main reason is to prevent the shrinking effect of the formic acid. And the one more disadvantage by using this method is it becomes brown, and the posterior part of the spear becomes fades by using the acetic acid. Next is next fixative is FP, that is formalin and propionic acid, that is 10.8 ml of formalin will be added, and 1 ml of propionic acid will be added, and distilled water will be added in the remaining part. As I told in the previous fixative agent, that is formalin and glacial acetic acid, here the only that is disadvantage of this mixture, as I told, it becomes brown and posterior part of the spear fades. This disadvantages is only seen when the quantity of the glacial acetic acid is used more. That is, out of 1 ml, if you go for using 10 ml, then the browning of the nematodes can be seen. So in order to prevent this effect, you will go for adding only 1 ml of the glacial acetic acid instead of 10 ml. Coming to the next fixative agent, as I explained, uh, that is propionic acid will be used instead of that glacial acetic acid here. The same thing, it neutralizes the shrinking effect which is caused by the formalin, and it also increases the slightly enhances the contrast. And here this can be useful for year-long fixation of the nematodes, and the nematodes which can be that is prepared over the permanent slides. This fixative can be the best for the preparation of the permanent slides. Next is formalin and glycerin 2 ml and distilled water remaining part. Here the other components of the liquid will evaporate, whereas the glycerin will stay in the same condition. It makes and it adds an advantage of preventing the nematodes from drying out. Next is TAF, that is formalin and triethylamine 2 ml and distilled water 90.4 ml. Here fixing in TAF, that is formalin, triethylamine and distilled water, gives good result. One scientist will tell that it gives the good result, but the other scientists, after studying in case of some nematodes, it has shown the nematodes got the cuticle of the nematode got degenerated if you go for long-term storage of this types of fixating agents. That is, the cuticle of the some nematodes had been degenerated after 20 years of storage. So for long-term storage, this fixative is not suitable. Next is FAA, that is diethyl vescens. Formalin, ethanol and glacial acetic acid 1 ml, and the remaining part will be distilled water. So the main you have to remember for the JRF point of view is just you remember the different fixative agents, and if possible some of the composition of important fixative agents which are used for the fixing of the nematodes. There is no need of remembering the the other advantages or disadvantages of the different fixating agents. Next is glycerol ethanol, that is method which is used for making permanent slides. Now it is the now killing and fixing of the nematode has been taken place, and now it is the method how to prepare permanent slides. Here the solution which is used for making permanent slide is glycerol ethanol, that is that solution is known as Steenhuis solution. Let us know how this method will be followed. Take a Steenhuis solution of 1 in a cavity block and transfer the desired nematode into it. Steenhuis solution 1, that how it will be prepared is 20 ml of ethanol, that is of 96% of 20 ml of ethanol will be taken, and 1 ml of glycerin, and remaining 79 ml of the distilled water will be added. This is nothing but Steenhuis solution. That solution will be taken in a cavity block and transfer the desired nematodes into it. After transferring into the cavity blocks, close it partially and place it in a desiccator which contains 96% of ethanol. After placing the desiccator in oven at 40 degrees Celsius for about 12 hours, then again refill the cavity block with Steenhuis solution 2. Initially you have seen the Steenhuis solution 1. Here only 20 ml of ethanol will be added. Here more amount of ethanol will be added in case of Steenhuis solution 2. That is 93 ml of ethanol of 96% and 7 ml of glycerin, and remaining here no water will be added, and cover the cavity block partially and again place it in a oval as followed in the previous steps for about only 4 hours. And the nematodes which are left in the pure glycerol now ready for mounting in the glycerol for making the permanent slides. Now let us see what is the procedure involved in mounting of the nematodes. For making any kind of permanent slides, the chemical which is used will be glycerin. The glycerin is entire specific chemical which is used for making permanent slides. Whereas in case of semi-permanent slides, we will be going to use lactophenol. So you have to remember these 2 points, that is glycerin is used for making the permanent mounts in case of nematodes, and in case of semi-permanent mount preparation you will be using lactophenol. Deposit a droplet of dehydrated glycerin in the center of the ring. You can see in the figure here the drop of the dehydrated glycerin will be placed off, and over there the nematodes has to be placed. Transfer the nematodes to the middle of the droplet with a handling needle. By using a needle, you have to place the nematodes in such a way that if you are going like the nematodes, if we are choosing will be 3 in number, then those 3 nematodes will be placed equally. That means the nematodes head will be at one side and the base will be at other side. Like this, the nematodes has to be placed. Arrange the nematodes parallelly and pick 3 pieces of glass wool fibers and arrange them in a drop of glycerol radially. You can see in the figure, these are the glass wool fibers which are placed radially by on adding a drop of glycerol over it. Apply a round cover slip with a pair of forceps. By using forceps, you just close on the nematodes carefully and put the mount on the hot plate for at about 65 degrees Celsius until the paraffin starts melting. And now encircle the round cover slip with glycerol for making it permanent molds. You can see here, this is the glycerol and these are the glass wool fibers, and these are the nematodes which are placed at the center of the cover slip. And after closing with the cover slip, and you can go for using nail polish for sealing of the cover slip. After allowing it to stand for 5 minutes, again double layer of nail polish can be applied in order to make it seal perfectly. Now the permanent mount is prepared for identification of the nematodes or for further conservation of those slides for for any further studies. Next is processing preservation of diseased samples. Preservation of plant parts containing the nematodes will be taken place in 3 different manner. That is, plant parts which are containing anaerobiotic resistant traits like Angwinia triticale. These has to be stored in a desiccator at the room temperature. So the plant parts which are containing the dormant stage of the nematodes will be kept in a desiccator at room temperature. And the roots which are root samples which are collected from the plants has to be preserved in the formalin at about 4% or FAA solution, as I explained earlier. Preservation of the plants or leaves with green color of the saturated cupric acetate in the 50% acetic acid solution. Like this, the preservation of the samples need to be done in different solution or in different manner. See, in this lecture, you have to remember that what all the different depth which are used in sampling of the soil sample in case of field crops, in case of orchard plants, and in case of widely spaced crops, and what are the different extraction methods used for identification of the nematodes or isolation of the nematodes, and different fixative agents which are used in the fixing of the nematodes, and some of the important points like what all the chemicals which are used for preparation of the permanent molds and semi-permanent molds, like glycerol which is used for permanent molds and lactophenol which is used for semi-permanent molds. Like this, the important points you note down and make a notes of it. So this is all about the nematological techniques. Thank you.